This is Palpatine's Arrest, an alternate build I made from one Coruscant Guard gunship. The idea for this alternate build all started from this Palpatine minifig, and of course the original set, but it's the closest we've gotten to an Episode 3 Palpatine in 9.5 years. And with all these dark red pieces, I figured it'd be easy enough to recreate Palpatine's office, and subsequently the incredibly sought after Palpatine's Arrest. And just like some of my previous alternate builds, I made some purist minifigure upgrades, along with some customs added in too. The most important upgrade was to swap Palpatine's legs. I love the printing on this skirt piece, but it makes it impossible for him to sit at his desk, so I grabbed my Grief Karga and swapped their legs. Then I also gave him a proper lightsaber with a gold hilt. And Padme was also leg swapped. She now has the legs from the archer in the medieval blacksmith set to better match the outfit her figure is based on. Now she has her episode appropriate attire all the way down to the boots. The remaining clones didn't see any upgrades since they aren't quite relevant to the alternate build, but I did use some leftover parts to give one of them a shield. Now to arrest the Emperor, we need some Jedi, so I grabbed Mace Windu from the fighter tank, and then I made this other alien Jedi using Kenobi's robes to play out their fight. And for my customs enjoyers, I went ahead and tossed two of GCC's new Senate guards in the mix. Then you can also grab their Mon Mothma or any of their Padme variants for different Senate meetings. And I gotta say, these senators and Senate guards are badass. If you want to pick some of these up, head to Tom the Builder's store with my link down below, or use code BLAZETM to save yourself some money. The build itself I'm incredibly happy with. I tried to retain some identity and features from the original set, and I think it turned out pretty well. But unlike the majority of my alternate builds, I did have to use 4 extra hinge pieces that aren't included in the gunship to accomplish the angle of these wedge plates. On the front of the build, you can see we have 3 different spots to attach any of the 4 included attachments, just like the original set. And the attachments I made were kind of developed in pairs, but you can of course swap them to have any combination. We made an entryway, a small staircase, a little walkway, as well as a landing pad and a Jedi fighter to land on top of it. My favorite is the entryway, heavily inspired by the original Arrest set, a very simple doorway build and mechanism. Simply pull on the slopes on either side to open them up. And that build pairs very well with this small little staircase I made for a bit more of a grander entrance. And with the doorway attached to the main build, it creates the perfect position to put your Senate guards or your shock troopers to stand guard and watch the office.
What are you? A monk?
Then we also have this walkway, landing pad, and Jedi speeder / fighter vehicle. I'm not sure what to classify it as, but it sort of looks like an A-wing in a much smaller scale. And maybe the Jedi show up in this, or Padme flies in on it, even the clones. I didn't really design it for one specific character in the alternate build, so I made sure they all fit nicely inside. Now with all the attachments put onto the build, it becomes much larger, but it also looks very cool, and it's more reminiscent of the original Arrest set. The front section of the office is very open. It's meant to have a lot of figure space for any sort of Senate meetings or the famous lightsaber arrest fight, but it does have some simple ornaments in the middle and off to the sides, along with these small waiting benches for any visitors. Now if we head up these small steps on either side, we arrive in the office space. It's got Palpatine's desk and chair, 2 seats for his visitors, and the large window behind him. And because this set doesn't have any large glass pieces besides the cockpit windshields, there isn't actually a window here, but it still looks pretty good nonetheless. The desk is probably my favorite part back here, both because of its construction and design. The white trim going around the dark red center just looks amazing to me. Then I also added a control panel on Palpatine's side. And his chair is locked in place, but the other 2 are offset on a single plate so they can rotate around freely. And these front and back sections technically do separate if you want a more compact display, so I guess that makes this part the 5th attachment in this set, but when it's not there, you can see the very unsightly underside of the build. And lastly, for our attachments, you can see there are Technic holes on either side of the back section, so if you felt like it, you could attach some extras back here, but they will hang down quite a bit. So I decided to make this small platform with some leftover parts that does support the door and stair combination pretty well, but not so much with the walkway and landing pad. I did put a handle on it though to make it easier to put in and take out. Let me know what you think of Palpatine's Arrest down below, and if you want to build one of these for yourself, I have full PDF building instructions available on my Patreon page right now. This was a really exciting idea to make because typically I'm more of a ships and vehicles guy. I don't really go for landscape builds or display pieces, but in the end this turned out really well as both a customizable and playable set while also being a nice little display. If you have any ideas for any future alternate builds, mods, or mocks that you'd like me to do, feel free to drop those in the comments below, and other than that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace, fellas.